Hey everyone, I'm back again. Last week I put out a video showing how I added a couple things to the layout. One of them, namely, is this silhouette skyline for my backdrop. And I was asked by the cuz, Vinny, if I would make a video showing how I did that. There are a couple ways to do it, so I'm going to try to explain both ways to you. It's pretty simple. Doesn't take a whole lot of skill to do it. Just need to take your time. One of the things that I would suggest, if you already have scenery up, you're going to definitely need to put down a drop cloth so that you don't get overspray on anything. I made a mistake, did that once. You don't want that headache. Be in a well ventilated area because you will be using spray paint. And one of the things you'll notice when I make this video, I didn't have a mask on. I suggest you wear a mask. I'm going to go out into the garage area and make this video because I don't have enough room in here in my train room. It's pretty warm today, so I'm going to be condensing a lot of things. I'm going to move forward in a way that I can explain it precisely, but not take up too much of your time. So, with that being said, the way Vinny always says it, let's make the video. So, okay, first things first, I am in my garage. It's pretty warm here today. There's not enough room in my train room to make this video to show you what I did. So I'm out here in my garage. So you're gonna have to excuse the flybys of the planes, cars driving by, birds tweeting. Okay? So I have a couple of my buildings that are laid on the side. I have my ground level right here, okay? And I also have one of the older backdrops that I use, that I shrunk down or had shrunk down to make my cityscape. This is an HO size. I just wanted it for reference. And as you can see, buildings overlap, okay? So what I'm going to do is draw a silhouette over here on the piece that I have laying down and kind of reference this. It's not going to be exact, but I'm going to draw an outline on this board that I have down here, replicating that, and I will probably add a couple other different features, different shapes to the size of the buildings. But I just have this here just to kind of glance at occasionally, get an idea where I'm going. I don't want, let me turn this back around, I do not want these buildings to be very high as a plane's flying by now, up over this. You know, you want them up a little bit, but not like way up here like the HO ones would be. This is a background, it's a silhouette. So I'm going to take my marker, because you want something that you can see, and start drawing. I'm going to draw a couple lines real quick just to show you. Then I'm going to turn the camera off and finish the rest of it. So I have my square for straight lines. Got my ruler. I'm going to take an edge like this. Let me go to this side, see it a little better. This will be my first building up. About so far. Keep my line straight. You don't want buildings leaning over. This is just rough sketching, okay? Doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this is a silhouette. Another thing that I did, like I said, just to give it different shapes. You can take a paint can or something, round out the top of the building. This is all going to be cut out, and so on, okay? Okay, so I finished drawing out the outline of the silhouette. Try to zoom in. Oop, wrong way. And you can see I have my lines all set up. What I did do is I changed the bottom. I thought this is where I initially had my ground, but I moved it up after I looked at the buildings and eyeing it up a little better. I don't want these to just totally dwarf the buildings in front. So I have all my diagrams, my outlines rather, drawn from here to here. So the next step I'm going to do, you can see those lines. This is a dark piece of wood. I'm kind of throwing this thing here together with the scrap pieces that I have to show you this. So please excuse that. So the next step would be is to cut this out. And I'm going to go around, I'm going to use these tin snips actually. What I used on mine was 1/8 inch plywood. This piece of material here is actually the backing of a picture that was thrown out some time ago, and I figured I'll use it for something, and I found out that I can cut it with those tin snips, and I should be able to do a pretty good job with it. So actually, after I get it cut out, I will start the video again. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting that and show you the finished product. Okay, so I finished cutting. As it turned out, the back of this is already black, so saved me some time. Okay, normally what I would have done is just discarded the other half because I wasn't going to use it, but in the interest of time and trying to show you two different methods, this is how I did mine. I cut it out on an 1/8 inch piece of thickness plywood, and that way I can just put it up against the wall like that. Now, I had pieces of the backdrop that I had purchased that I had shrunk down. These are actually a little too small, but you get the idea where you can put these up against it, or you can actually put your own buildings there, and it adds depth to your backdrop. So you got a silhouette of buildings in the distance. Of course, I would darken these around the edge to show you that. So that's one way. Okay, I'm going to show you the other way that this can be done. So just a second. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit extra here. The one I showed you, the cutout piece that you just put up against your board. I'm going to show you stencil method now. The other half of that board that I cut out, I saved it so that I can show you the stencil. And the added thing I'm going to do is show you stencil making clouds, because I did that on my backdrop. Just take a typical piece of cardboard, cut it out to the shape that you want. This is the kind of stuff you see those guys be doing at carnivals or what have you. I'm going to move around to the other side. I think I could do it better that way. Just kind of do that, overlay it. Got some clouds. Pretty slick, huh? Then you take this stencil. This might be a little more difficult. I think I'm going to have to clamp these up there to get it done. So bear with me a second. Yep. Okay. Here we go. About out of paint. Hopefully I have enough to do it. Get up in your corners good. All right. there you go. Pretty simple. The hardest part was setting all this up. And then again, just put your buildings out here in front of it. Like so. That's how you do it. I'm going to gather this stuff back up and head back into my training room where it's a little cooler and finish this video. So I hope that was explained well enough. You get something out of this video. That's the whole purpose of it, to share the hobby, to help those with different things they might be struggling with. It's a pretty simple way to add some depth to your layout. It definitely made a difference in this area. And shout out to those who gave me comments, because I asked for them. When I asked for them, hey, constructive criticism, whatever, I appreciate it. I did add another small building over here because this space was pretty big. I mean, I knew that when I put it in there. So I knew I was going to get dinged on it, but I appreciate your comments, like I said. Okay, folks, until the next video, see you then.